Well, hello there, and welcome back to the Windkiller channel. I hope you're all doing great. I am back with another battle report here, and today we will be bringing you a battle between the Saurian Ancient and the Skaven Vermin, or Vermin Swarm they're called now. The old Skaven, I believe. Um, yes. So I played this game the other day against a Vermin Swarm, and that was my second game against Vermin Swarm since 9th edition, and one thing I can say for sure is that they sure have gotten a lot of big blocks. Well, they used to have that as well, but I have the feeling that they gotten even bigger. A lot of big blocks. So if we take a look at the army list here, we can see that they have. I'm not really familiar with all the Vermit swarms items, but just gonna tell them how I remember them. He has his swarm priest. He had his swarm priest on the big bell thing, whispering bell, I guess it's called, and he was a wizard with witchcraft. And then he had something that allowed him to sacrifice Skavens, I think, to get more powered ices, and he had like 6+ ward save to all rats in a certain area, and I think he had one more thing, but I can't remember. It was just like a big support thingy bingy. And then he had another swarm priest. Played him in the background with Tamar or whatever how you pronounce that word, with the Book of Arcane Mastery. So he just used that to cast the Wrath of God every single time. It was pretty nasty. And then he had the Bloodfur Legate, which I believe was supposed to be a. I'm not familiar with it. It has the item Secret of the Doomblade, and I believe it's supposed to be a character killer and supposed to do real good. It flopped miserably against me, so I don't know about it. And then the Vermin Senator, which is awesome in the skirmish list here, and like the old Vampire Count General, this guy here is the clue of everything, I feel. If he dies, you lose. If he lives, you win. And if for next time, if I ever gonna have a chance to pick Evocation against a Vermin Swarm, I'm definitely gonna go with Evocation. If you take out this Vermin Senator, their army is just. At least I get the impression that it's just gonna crumble. Because they get that 3, they get to take the leadership test on leadership 7 or 8 with 3d6 instead of 2d6 on a leadership 5, which is pretty awesome. And then he had this House Perfect with a pistol and a storm rocket and a scorch-tight alchemist, so he was just kind of like throwing missiles out left and right, and he was used to boost the buff of his 50 Black Fur veterans. Quite a few veterans, right? Black Fur. And if you use this House Perfect in it, they got first strike. If he sacrificed some guys, they could get first strike or lightning strike, which made that unit pretty scary. And then he had a lot of blocks, as I mentioned, a lot of blocks. 48 Vermins, 48 Vermin Legionnaires, 35 Vermin Legionnaires, and 15 Blackfear veterans, and 10 giant rats, and 12 Fetish brutals, and 2 arcane beasts. So quite the list versus mine. I also had a lot of block. I've been playing this list recently, and I personally think it's really strong. I played it with the Cold Lord, who has the Protenium Potente, or however you say that, combined with the Grasp of the Immortal, which is really strong. And then I'm playing with a Cayman Ancient, Battle Standard Bearer, giving him. I'm not too sure how he should be built. Right now I'm doing the Destiny Call, but it sort of only gives him a 4+ ward save for 70 points. I'm not too sure about this. I'm considering at least to change it. I think there should be a better way to build him out. I would also like the supernatural dexterity on him, which will make him pretty good, but I can't quite find points. Next, I have a Skink Priest on the Skink Palanquin and Plaquia of the Snake Gods, and he's a wizard apprentice with Shaman and Binding Scroll. So I had to, when I finished my list, I had to discount somewhere, and I couldn't quite find where I should discount what I should take out of my list. But the whole concept of this list is 5 strong blocks, and so I was looking at it, and I concluded that if I was gonna take out to make all my blocks weaker, then the whole concept of the list kinda went out the window. So I kinda decided to go on a discount Skink Priest here. So he's only level 1 with Shaman. Ideally, I would have preferred if he was a apprentice with oh, right. And there is one thing you could do about it. I could give him sun tablet instead of a binding scroll. But I also want some magical defense. But if I give him sun tablet and he's on a Palanquin, he can pick. He always has the number 1 spell, and then he can pick one more, right? Which would make him give him 2 spells, which would be fine. But honestly, I'm okay with him just being a level 1 wizard. And then he still have the heretic spells. So he has the heretic spells and the number 1 from the Shaman, Awaken the Beast. I think he's okay. He's not bad. And plus the Call Lord is just an absolutely beast. So usually I just use him anyway. I don't use my Skink Priest too often. But if I could, I would like to make him an apprentice with the Sun Tablet and then Druidism, and give him like Summoner Grove, Stoner, Skin of Stone, Entangling Wine. Those 3 spells would be really good for combat. But I can't quite find the points for it. So yeah, he's been sacked. Next is 2 Skinks Captains, just to some chaff. One has Ranger's Boots to be able to run even longer, and that's what they do. Next is 29 Saurian with Crocodile. I played him with Shepherd for a while, but to be honest, I just think like 3+ armor save is just really good in combat. Sorry. So I've been running with Crocodile Skin instead, plus it's cheaper. And next is the 40 Skink Braves with nothing but shields and hand weapon. Cheap unit with 3 Frog Banner. Combined with the hatred from the Palanquin of the Snake God from the Skink Priest, and the poison attacks makes them a pretty hard hitting cheap unit, I believe at least. And particularly combined with the Cold Lord, and his my evocation number 1 spell, Blade of Spectral Blades, makes them really scary if they face off something like a Knight unit or something with high armor. Makes them really good against high armor, I think. Next we have 26 Temple Guards. Good number of Temple Guards. They're still, I think they usually want to go up against the opponent's strongest unit, and they usually just get torn and shredded apart, and then they live by the stubborn. They stubborn, so they live through the next round, and usually, at least the ideal is that then I can have some kind of counter charts. Then I at least try to have some sort of counter chart set up. So they kind of work as bait. So if they're only 20, then they sometimes get destroyed in the first round of combat. So that's why they need to have a little bit more skin on the bones. 8 Caimans. This is the most, I think at least, the most hard hitting block in the army. With Hellebarder, and the Cayman Ancient goes in there as well. So there's 9 Caimans with the BSB. That's a quite hard hitting unit. Sadly I can't find the points for it, but I would have been happy if the Kingman engine, the BSB, he could have the flaming banner. I think it would suit the list really well if I had flaming somewhere. But sadly I don't, because I also have the with the Protanian I can give flammable, so I could give a unit flammable, which would be nice. No, I mean not. I have the alchemist. I have the alchemist, so I could give flammable somewhere. So having a flaming banner would be ideal, but I can't find a point for it. Next we have the 10 raptures. And I'm considering right now to swap out the totem of Mixalotti, or whatever how you pronounce that, with the banner of speed, and then drop the follow me here. Drop the banner, drop the rending banner on the temple guard. Give the temple guard the totem of Mixalotis, and then give the banner of speed to the raptor riders, because I feel like the list lacks a little bit of speed. Lacks a little bit speed. So if I could give the raptor riders 16 inches instead of 14, then I think that would solve one of the big problems here. But I haven't tried it out, but I think that's probably one of the changes I'm planning on trying out with my next game. And then there's 2 snake swarms. I personally think it's a really good chaff unit. I don't know, people should talk it a lot, but I personally think it's a great unit. They have 10 wounds and dangerous terrain test, so big units in general. I'm pretty scared to tremble on these guys. Anyhow, that was the list. That was longer than expected. So right back into the game. We played a scenario which I forgot. I think it's the one where all your unit count as a I forgot the scenario. What was it? I forgot it. Anyway, counter thrust I think it's called. Anyway, I get to who get to set up first? Was it me or him? I actually forgot. So I think he went first. He set up first, and then we deploy a unit each. We deploy 1 unit each. We don't want to give away too much about our positioning, so we keep deploying 1 unit each. And in the end, I get 2 plus for the starting roll, but I fail it, and he chose to go first. His first turn, he doesn't really do much. He just kind of move forward a little bit, throw some witchcraft spells on my units, might debuff them a little bit. Doesn't really matter too much. And then he yeah, that's what happens. And he tries to throw the Wrath of God, and I dispel it. That was kind of the only thing I had to stop this turn, was to stop the Wrath of God, and then I would be then. I'm not sure if I were him, I would probably haven't gone first, right? I would have given away my turn 1. Oh, let me just comment here on the deployment, right? The deployment here, I placed everything in the middle, Temple Guards and Caimans in the middle, in response to his big black fur unit here. And the bell was also placed in the middle. And then I placed the 40 skinks and my Caimans on the left side. And then the plan was to have the left side advance as much as possible, while the Cayman and the Temple Guards try to hold the line, and then we would have the Saurian warriors who were placed on the right side try to relocate, move into the middle. So I placed the Saurian warrior as the first unit, I think it was, or the second unit, and then I kind of wanted to bait him in, and then I would use my Banner of Relentless to move them to the left side to hopefully attract some attention from attract some attention to make him play some strong units on my right side, and I actually succeed. He places the black Furtist on that side. Uh, so that was pretty good. Anyhow, his turn one. We were about talking about his turn one. He throws some magic. Nothing really happens. He moves forward with a few of his units, and one thing I noticed was that he moved a little bit too forward, a little bit too far forward with his left flank Skaven unit, the Vermit Legionnaires. And the thing was that they were not within reach of his general, so they were leadership 5, and I needed a 9 for the charge on them with my um, Raptor Riders. So I took it, and I meant, so I took this charge, and I meant if it failed, it failed. It wouldn't be the end of the world, and if it succeeded, I would most likely be able to win the combat and run. I would most likely be able to run him down, or at least win the combat. Even if Life is Cheap is strong, I think I would be able to. He has what 5 ranks and a banner, so he's like 6 static resolution. So I needed to be pretty lucky to win the. I needed to kill like. I have a charge and a banner and a rank, right? If he doesn't kill anyone, so that's 3. So I needed to kill at least 10 or something like that. I needed to at least kill 8, at least 8, right? So I would have 7, because he has 6. So I would need to kill at least 8 with my 20 attacks. So it was 50-50 if I could do it, because he had shield and parry, right? But it was definitely worth it, I think. If I could get through on that flank, I thought things would be really good. Then I could maybe figure a way to deal with his arcane beast from there. Anyway, it didn't go quite as I planned. But the chart succeeded, and here we can also talk about if this unit had +1 more movement, that left flank would have had such a much easier time at pressuring that point. So I move, and then it's my turn. As said, I charged with the Raptor Riders. I moved forward. As I mentioned, I wanted to pressure him from the left side, so I moved forward my Skinks and max movement, and I moved forward my Temple Guards and the Snake Swarms, try and pressure him if he charges them. I mean, if he charges the Snake Swarms with 50 Black Furs, there's on average there should die like, what, 8.5 Black Furs just from that charge on the Snake Swarms. I thought that was good, and then okay, he could charge me and overrun, potentially run into my Temple Guards, potentially get a flank charge from my Kingmans in the rear. So I figured he was definitely not interested in charging here. So I just moved up a little forward, putting pressure on him before his Black Furtist could reach me. I wanted to be able to pressure his Black Furries before his big rat guys could reach my flank here. So I moved up quite aggressively, and then I moved my Saurian Ancient, my Saurian warriors. They wheeled to the left side, and they used the Relentless Bandler. Not on this turn, right? They just reformed this turn here, and now they're looking towards the left side, so they hopefully can start walking. Magic Phase. I try and shoot his Black Furries a little bit. He was pretty scared of me shooting missiles at that unit. He went in quite heavy to try and dispel that. I don't manage to hit anything, I think, and maybe I get. And then I try to buff up my my Raptor Riders on the left side. I managed to get 5+ region and no die enemy. So I hit on 3s. No, I don't hit on 3s. He hits on 5s, I think, which was good. It didn't make much of a difference, but the good thing was that I got to hit first, at least at the same time. So I would I wouldn't lose any attacks because I was gonna need all my attacks to make this work, right? And I think that was about it. Yeah, that was about it. And the combat, I end up making him run, and I decide not to pursue because if I pursued, I would get a arcane beast in my flank, which would hurt too much. So I decided I was just hoping that because he would still be outside of the leadership of the general when he tried to rally, so he would need a 5 to rally. So I was just hoping he would run off the map. But he didn't. As you will see here, he's turn 2. He rally. He doesn't make any charges. He just moves back a little bit. He rallies. He rallies his vermin legionnaires on a 4. He needed a 5 to rally, and he rolls a 4. That was really good. If he didn't get these vermin riders, I think the game would have been a whole different story. But he do rallies them, and now my raptor riders. I made a mistake here. My raptor riders should probably have faced a direction so forth that they could also see the rallied Vermit legionnaires in case they should rally, so they could charge them again and run off the field, run off the board, so they wouldn't get a flank charge from the raptor riders. Anyhow, he moves back a little bit. He moves forward with his arcane beast on both flanks, and that's about it. Magic phase, he tries and casts the hand of the Wrath of God again, and try and debuff some of my units again. His magic phase is not too strong when it's not in combat, so nothing really happens. He just throws a few spells, and that's about it. And I'm pretty sure there's nothing of significance in this turn. He just stays where basically he is. So my turn 2, I try to maneuver my Raptoritis in between the Black Furs and the oh no, I don't. I just place them so that I won't get charged in the flank by the now what do I do? Do I charge them? Yeah, I actually think I charged them, right? My Raptoritis charged the rallied Vermit legionnaires. And I move up my skinks. Well, they of course make it. This is an auto charge. I move up, full move up with my skink unit, and I chaff off his black furs with my swamp units. So if he charges, he will either get a flank charge from my Cayman Ancient, or my skink priest, or my skink braves. And then I chaff off his right side flank with my another unit of snake swarms. And then if he should manage to, for some reason, if I miss something or something, I don't know if I had missed something. Maybe I missed something. So I placed my temple guards in the middle of everything. So in case that he found a way to get into combat with my caimans by charging my left side snake swarms, then I would be able to also, I could at least choose which to charge with my temple guards or my skink priest. My temple guards or my skink priest, right? And on the button I use my relentless banner on the Saurian warriors, and they are now in a pretty good position here on the button here, ready for moving up to counter charge, or moving into position for a counter charge, or at least as a reinforcement to the 4 left side flank units that are advancing on the left side. I was pretty happy about this maneuvering on the Saurian. I think it worked out pretty good. Anyhow, that was my movement. I think in Magic nothing much happened. I try and shoot some magic missiles on the black first. The idea was that I needed to, this unit hits in 5 ranks, I think. So everyone can hit. So it's like 50 attacks. So the idea was that I wanted to at least decrease it just to 40 attacks or something like that, or else my unit would just get popped. So the goal was to kill at least 10 before I reached combat with him. Um, so I tried to shoot some magic missiles in there, and he dispels them. They don't happen. It doesn't go too well. I try and fireball, etc., etc. And then I boost up my. I use Awaken the Beast on my Cayman engine in case he decide. Cause they just went right up in his face of these. Actually, this was pretty tactical. I moved them up so far that if he was gonna charge me with his the bell unit, he would, if he charged me, he would still be in the wood, so he wouldn't be steadfast. And if I killed less than 14, if I killed less than 14 Skavens, he would not have steadfast. So that was a pretty big chance that I would break this unit if he decided to go for the charge. And as I mentioned, I chaffed off the 2 other units on the flank, so he wouldn't be able to do that. I mean, there was a possibility that his the most right side Skaven Vermit would potentially charge my snake swarms and get into the flank of my Caymans, but I think I placed them so they couldn't do that, but I'm not sure. Looking back at it, I think it might have been possible. And then if he had charged me in the front and the flank here, things might have looked real dire. But then again, if I managed to hold, if I managed not to flee that combat, then I would have been able to back him up with my 13 Saurians into the side of that right side skirmish Vermit unit. So I don't know. I think this was a good position at the end of my turn 2. And I get, as I mentioned, I get the Awaken the Beast off as well, and it's 1 more toughness, 1 more risk, 1 more toughness, so they're toughness 5 now. So it's not that easy to get through them. He's next turn. But I mean, I think I maybe moved too close to his right side minions, and I think my swarms should have maybe tried and direct him a little bit further to the right side of my board. Anyhow, it turns out okay, as we will see here. But I think that this was a place that was room for me collapsing my own game here. This was not done too feral. I could have moved this better. Anyhow, his turn. I get Awaken the Beast off, and that was it. So his turn 3. He decides to now it's time. Now it's time for charge. So he goes in. He's black first charges my snake swarms. His vermit unit of the big bell charges my caimans, and the black big rat guys charges my snake swarms. And so here we are fighting. And I think he had to do dangerous terrain test from charging my snake swarms, and I think I killed like, they don't do a whole lot. It didn't do a whole lot. And the magic phase here, I recall this is where I decide to use my binding scroll in this magic phase, and I think I take out Wheel of Time because I wanted to be able to hit him and at least generate some points from the some combat resolution. So I bind that, and I fail miserably. I fail actually one of the spells that I shouldn't have failed. I wanted to dispel, but I miscalculated some of my dices and I failed not dispelling. I can't remember which one it was, but it was some sort of buff spell. So now I'm -1 -1 toughness, and from the Awaken the Beast I'm toughness 4. And I'm also, I think it's -1 to hit, or something like that. -2 agility or something like that. Offensive skill. I fight a little bit worse. So this battle here is not by any means given who's gonna win it. Anyway, we fight. After the fighting, he takes care of my snake swarms, both sides of the snake swarms. He reforms his rats on both sides. And the big battle here. The big battle, I end up killing 13. Oh right, he also made the charts. He made the charts with these 36 the belt unit, and his blood fur something, the rat, that's pretty good at killing big guys. I think he deals like one. He's every wound he do is d6 wounds. So and I apparently placed my BSB so he was able to be attacked by him. Uh, but that guy fluffs everything and he doesn't hit a single. He doesn't do a single wound. And I hit back on killing him, and I kill him. So at the end of the combat, I win the combat by 7 or 8 or something like that. And he ends up running, and I decide to follow, and I manage to run them down, and I run into these big rats, 12 units of the big rats, which turned out to be harder, which turned out to be pretty nasty. I couldn't quite deal with these guys. So the next, then it's my turn. He didn't charge his next one. Oh, the black first didn't charge his next one, so apparently I was mistaken. Anyway, my turn. On my turn, I move further down with the the Raptor Riders and the Vermit's Legionnaires on the left side just fights. I don't. It's a draw or something. Oh, I lose by 1 and I'm past my leadership test. My turn 3. I move down on my skinks on the left side and put them into the water. Here's comes something that comes up to become really important later in the stakes. But I move them on purpose down to the water because they have the water striders in the water. So they get to charge with 3d6 and more importantly pursue with 3d6. And then they are set up to a flank charge on the Vermit guys here. So we're hoping, and the temple guards are setting up to a frontal attack. So I'm trying to pinchel this unit here. My Saurian unit moves up and ready to try and defend anything that's gonna come in the flank of my Cayman units. I chap off the Arcane Beast. So what else happens? I try to do some I try to boost up my Caymans because they are in for quite a rough fight. I get up no die enemy and the attribute of the innovation, so they roll 4d6 on the leadership roll, which might help them in the end. My Raptor Riders fight on. I think it's a draw. The fight against the rats, I take quite some hits. I lose by I think a 3 or 4 or something like that. I managed to pass my leadership test, and we fight on for another round. But these Caymans are a bit over the head right now at the moment. So he's turn 4, I think it is. He charges with his vermin. Right. Probably the reason why he didn't charge with the arcane beast into my Caymans was because he was pretty confident that this static 6 static combat resolution would be plenty to kill my 3 Caymans with my BSB in it. So he charges his right side Vermin Legionnaires into my Caymans, and the Arcane Beast into my Skink Captain, and he's charges with the Black Furs into my Snake Swarm. He moves these 2 characters out of the unit in the back. He moves out his 2 characters from the unit in case they should get charged, and that's about it. Then magic. What happens? He boosts his big rat. He boosts the big rats. I think I get -1. Oh, he lost a lot of spells when he lost his big belt, right? So now he only has 2 spells. He has the big Hand of God, which he managed to cast. So now there's a big hand of God in the middle of the field where I want to advance with my Saurian warriors, which it was pretty annoying. But it wasn't the end of the world, and he rolled pretty bad on them. I think actually he got a hand of God off in one of his previous magic phases, but it was just so bad. I think it rolled on average. He hit like 3 or 4 units, and it rolled like on average 4 hits on each of them, and dead like no wounds. It was awful, absolutely awful. Anyway, uh, so his magic phase doesn't really do anything. And here it is. After the snake form combat, he kills my snake, and I have placed my temple guards and my skink pretty badly in the turn before, so uh, he could reform his black fur so forth that he would get 2 front attack from my unit. So I couldn't get the flank. I couldn't get a flank attack and a front attack with him. But I decided to charge him anyway. With my temple guards and my skink unit. It is 50 black furs. This is a strong. They're pretty nasty. So in combat, I try to boost them as much as I can. I was kind of like here, who to boost? Should I try and save my Raptorites who are about to face a arcane beast in the rare, or should I try and save this? Or not save, but at least make sure that I win the combat against these Skaven Vermit, the black furs, blood furs, or whatever they call. So I decided to boost up my temple guards with +1 toughness, they awaken a beast, and know thy enemy. So now they're pretty rough to hit, right? They at least have a little bit staying power here. And so this means I totally sack off my caimans, which somehow I think actually they managed to survive. Anyhow, it's the first combat we decide to do is the Raptorites. It's my turn 4, by the way, or is it 5? I think this is my turn 4. My turn 4, right? So we do the Raptorites battle here first. My Raptor loses the combat here and starts running. And they run behind the arcane beast. And then next we have the skink combat, the temple guard combat. He kills like 20 temple guards or something like that. So I have like, no, he kills how many? 15 temple guards or 12 or something like that. So I have like 10 temple guards left and 40 skinks. And the 40 skinks are about to get a flank rare attack in the rear by these vermin legionnaires, which I couldn't run down my turn 1. So they becoming a real strong tool for him, and I really regret that I wasn't able to deal with this left side vermin at an earlier stage of the game. I could potentially have lost the game from that unit alone. Anyway, that combat, I think it's another draw. I lose the combat. I'm stubborn. I stay. My caimans, they die. They get run down by his legionary skinks, vermin legionaries, and that's his turn 5. His turn 5. Yeah, that was the end of my turn 4. So in his turn 5, he decides to charge my after making the raptors riders flee. The left side vermin legionnaires they reform so they can see my skink in the rear. So he charges the skink braves in the rear. His arcane beast charges my raptorites in the rear, and he managed to catch them. So he runs them down, and that's about what he does in his turn. And then he'd try and do some magic on the black first to make them survive, which I think he does a decent job actually. Oh, I managed to do one thing that was pretty important in the last my turn 4 combat. I managed to kill the prelate house or whatever you call it, the one that could give the black first lightning strike. So now he only has great weapon, so I can at least get to hit him first before he can come back at me, which is pretty important, I think. Anyway, he get what does he get any magic of? Not really. He don't get any magic of. And so I managed to win the combat. I think I win the combat by a very little margin. No, actually, I lose the combat. I loses the combat, and my skink magically starts to flee, which was at the end very lucky for me, because he had taken out his vermin senator, and so if this my skink braves rallies, I can shoot magic in his face. I can use telepathy from my skink priest, so my cult lord can shoot magic missiles into his face, which ended up becoming really important for me, because then in my turn 5 I charge his is this turn 5? Is this turn 6 maybe? Am I wrong? Yeah, no, this is my turn 6, sorry. I don't know, I missed a turn somewhere, or I misspoke a turn or something like that. This is my last turn. And so my last turn, I charges his Vermin Legionnaires with my Saurian warriors, and I'm hoping to shoot his general. And if I win this combat, they will have leadership 5, and potentially they will give a panic test to the other big rats, and they are also leadership 5. So I can clean up very nicely here if I manage to take out this general down here with my magic spells. Anyhow, and also at the other side, if I manage to take out the black first, the legionary unit on the left side will also likely flee. So it's like a big chain reaction. I can start off by shooting that general. I think he felt very sad that he had fled with that guy. But the reason why he took the guys out of the unit was that in case that I would have won the combat with my temple guards and my skink braves, then I would have been able to overrun into his vermin elites unit, and then I would have been fighting him instead. So I can see the idea why he would take him out. It just turned out very convenient for me. So anyway, I managed to rally my skinks, and I roll a 7, a lot of dices, and then I start spamming him. I shoot a magic fireball on him, and I try and I use my heretic spells, and luckily I get like 5 hits on him or something like that, and I managed to take him out. And this magic phase was pretty crazy for me, I believe. I get these 2 magic missiles off. I get the Blade of Spectralorf and the healing water on my Saurian warriors. So my turn 6 was a big beast, a big game changer. It was from what looked like a draw or me losing a little bit to me winning big time. So I managed to shoot his general. I managed to get the shoot his general, which causes his rats to lose the combat and run, and it causes I can. Oh, it was my turn 5, right? Okay, it was my turn 5. So I managed to make his rat run, and I managed to make the black furs. I kill the black furs. I kill all the black furs. So and this causes panic to the other 2 units. So that the 2 units of the one unit of Vermin Legionnaires and the Vermin Elites, they start running. And so I faced them with my Temple Guards to be able to charge them in case they rally. Then I can charge one of them at least, and in case none of them rallies and they keep running but don't run off the board, I can charge them to make them run off the board just to clean up. So they faces the direction away from the big rats. Because I was also considering after the blood fur combat that my Temple Guards could maybe look towards my own side and maybe get a flank charge off on the big rats. But I decided there was more point in killing these two rat units. And in his last turn, he has the option to charge his 8 big rat guys into my Saurian unit, but he decided against it because they've been buffed up a lot. So he realized he probably can't win that fight. So he doesn't charge. He managed to rally his Vermin Legionnaires, and at my turn 6, I charges the 2 units with my Temple Guards. I managed to get them to run off the field. And then there was one big thing that was pretty lucky. My rallied skinks, which had just killed his general, now also were able to reach his big rats in the rear, because he couldn't move the big rats back because then I would be closer with my skink braves in the rear. So he didn't want to move them back. If he moved them forward, he couldn't get out of the vision arc of my Saurian warriors. So he was kind of forced to move him forward a little bit to make me have a long charge to reach them. I managed to reach them with my skink braves, and I get a rare attack on him, and I think I get them running. He does actually do a pretty good job of killing a lot of skink braves, but at the end I think I win the combat and I run him down. And the end score is I killed 3,400 and something. That is included the general and his PSB, and he killed about 1,800 of me. And I win the scenario, which I win the secondary objective, and I still can't quite remember the secondary objective, but I win it. So I think the end score is like a 9-1 to me. I think it was a 9-1, yeah. 19-1 or something like that. 17-3, 73 maybe. Overall, it was a really good game actually, and looking back at it, I don't think I played too well. I think I made a lot of mistakes which could have. Yeah, I think I didn't play too well. I also think this is not an ideal matchup for me. It's pretty difficult to go through 50 blocks with parry, because my kinda strong units cannot. They are not that strong. They're good at killing, but they're not good at killing a lot of people. They're good at killing like semi-elite unit, but really weak units that has like 50 of them, they're not particularly good against that. But because they don't have, if they had parry weapons, then I could maybe find a way to get through parry. But if they had paired weapons, but parry is just so good against me. I hit on 4s. Even if I get no die enemy, I still hit on 4s, and that just takes up a lot of good things, a lot of the pressure from my guys. And that's why I've also been thinking actually to put the Rod of Battle bounce spell into the build here instead of my binding scroll to help this problem that I have to hit people. I don't hit people too well, and I think maybe with the Rod of Battle, maybe I could hit people better, or at least I could pressure people to make them think that I can hit them better. Yeah, overall I wouldn't say I think I played a pretty bad game here actually. I liked the list, and I think the game was fun, and my opponent was really nice. He was a really great guy, so I enjoyed the game overall. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say. This this battle report took a lot longer time than my other battle reports did. 20 minutes to be exact. I think that's too long in all honesty. So I'll try and keep the next one shorter. Anyway, please make sure to subscribe and follow me, and I'll see you again at the next battle report. Take care.